Hello friend, this is me, your host. Welcome back to our channel. I hope you all are well and doing great. So today I am back with another video to give a review on another book, which is Murder Under the Sun. This book is by Martin. Hillary Greene rolled onto her side on her narrow bed, picked up her mobile phone, and listlessly turned it on. She scowled at the inoffensive screen, informing her that the time was 7:45 a.m. and briefly contemplated whether she could be bothered to check out the status of the current temperature. It didn't take her long to decide that there was little point. She already knew that it would be hot. When she finally walked away from her car, she confidently predicted that by the time she came back to it, she'd be able to put a ready meal for one side. Shut the door, wait 10 minutes, and it would be cooked. Good morning, Hill. The desk sergeant called out cheerfully as she pushed her way inside and pressed a slight sigh of relief. Here at least the air was cooler. What's good about it? She snarled back, making the sergeant grin. Some of us like the heat, he called cheerfully after he departing back as she made her way down the stairs into the basement. where the crime review team hung its collective hat. Formerly a serving detective inspector, Hillary had taken a slightly early retirement. Only to be lured back less than 2 years later into rejoining the service as a civilian consultant. Working cold cases. The majority of the CRT unit consisted of computer and various forensic experts applying new and modern science to solve older cases, and the public only became aware of their hard work when historic crimes were finally brought home to offenders who must have thought that after 5, 10, or even some cases 20 years, they had got away with their malfeasance. But within this mostly office bound and highly structured machine, there was a tiny section consisting of Hillary and her team, who conducted actual murder investigations in the old-fashioned way, cases that remained unsolved and always open. These were chosen by as Hillary rang the bell and glanced about. She couldn't see a single soul. The door opened suddenly pulled open with a yank, as if whoever was inside was getting ready to vent some spleen. The door opened suddenly, pulled open with a yank. The man regarding her looked to be somewhere in his 70s, and not particularly friendly. Once tall and well built, he now looked slightly stooped and paunchy, with a bare belly that hung over, a pair of khaki shorts, and was barely contained by a sleeveless t-shirt in a shade of very off-white. His feet were bare. If you are selling something, we don't want it, he informed her. Shortly, Mr. Clovis. The man nodded, but Hillary was already, her ID out of her bag. I am Hillary Greene. I am working with the Thames Valley Police in the CRT unit. I was hoping I could have a quick word with your wife, Danny. The man blinked, then gave a slight shrug and stepped back. Better come in then. Dee's in the kitchen. It doesn't get the afternoon sun. She'll be asleep, but I will wake her up. For what good it will do you, he muttered. Not quite. far enough under his breath so that she couldn't catch it. Hillary frowned, not liking the sound of that last sight, but followed him into a hall barely big enough to accommodate them both. And he immediately swiveled and stepped past the first door on the right, opening the door beyond that. As he stepped aside for her to enter, she walked into a reasonably sized kitchen done out in blue and white. It looked as if it hadn't been redecorated in 20 years and revealed a woman sleeping on a sunbed that had probably been dragged in from less than generous patio in the back garden where its twin still stood. "Dee, love, it is one of your opals," the man suddenly below, making Hillary jump. The woman opened her eyes and scowled. Hillary knew that Diana Clovis had been 51 years old at the time of Imelda Phelps' murder. Which must now put her around 66 or 7. She was stick thin, with long hair that would have looked better and would surely have felt cooler, put up in a chignon or ponytail, and had obvious liver spots on bare hands. and had obvious liver spots on her bare hands, arms, and upper sternum, which were all cruelly revealed by the thin, faded, sleeveless cotton sundress that she was wearing. Who, Donny? Who? Donny? She muttered thickly. Someone from work, the man shouted back. Hillary hoped Danny Clovis would find and put on her hearing aid, but her husband's next words made her heart sink even further. She is getting a bit well out of it, I suppose. Some days are better than others. Not sure how much sense you will get out of her today, to be honest. This bloody heat don't help any, that's for sure. Even if I am starting to feel dozy. Tried to get hold of a couple of those big white electric fans from Argos to cool the air down a bit. But they were too bloody expensive. I will get her a cold drink. I will get her a cold drink from the fridge. That might help. As we began to set about the task, Hillary drew up a wooden kitchen chair and sat beside the sun lounger, but it looked as if as if the older woman's eyes were already beginning to close again. Danny, Hillary asked, not loudly but firmly. I am from Thames Valley. Do you remember the Imelda Phelps case? I remember her. It was Donnie who answered, coming back with a glass of something in a shade of vivid orange. That good looking model that got done in. What getting on? For 20 years ago, now I am right. Hillary watched her Hillary watched as the man rested a meaty hand on his wife's bony shoulder and squeezed. Hillary awoke the next morning feeling like an inert mess. Although she had technically slept for more hours than the night before. Probably out of sheer tiredness and necessity. The night had been unbearably humid, and her dozing had been interrupted and unsatisfying. A sluggish shower, followed by a breakfast of cornflakes and lukewarm coffee, didn't make her feel that much better. And by the time she had listlessly parked Puff in a silver of shade that would disappear before mid-morning, she had refused reduced her resolution about tackling things all gung-ho to a more modest determination to drag herself where she needed to be, come what may. Goof, I finished going over the forensic reports yesterday, she began. As you know, the SOCOs lifted plenty of fingerprints consisting mainly of all the family members, a few friends and regular visitors, plus the cleaners from the domestic agency. I have run them all through the databases and they don't turn up at any other crime scene since 2010. Also, no similar MOs in either our region or nationwide, which means we are probably dealing with a one-off then. Hillary mused. She had always believed that was likely to be the case, but it was confirmed. It couldn't be ruled out that Imelda had been the victim of a hitherto unsuspected serial killer. So it was personal, she continued, glancing across at the corkboard. and the accumulated data it now held. The large studio portrait of the murdered woman was still the dominating feature. Not surprising, she was very beautiful, and women with looks like that often bring out the insecurities, fantasies, and violent tendencies in other people. Either deliberately or totally unintentionally, and from what we are learning about her nature, neither can be ruled out. She seemed to have a knack of upsetting people in a variety of ways. As far as I can tell, she wasn't discreet. And didn't seem to have much empathy with the feelings of others. She could have underestimated her effect on people and not realized that she was pushing someone too far. You know, the modeling contract that she was so excited about, Dermot said. His gaze sharpening at her obvious surprise. Her family must have mentioned it to D.I. Clovis. But Hillary knew that they hadn't. Nowhere in any of the old case files was there any mention of an imminent modeling contract, let alone by name. But she was not about to reveal that to her witness. Or maybe she never told them. Dermot swept on, too lost in his own thoughts to realize just how much he had thrown her. Mind you, I know she had been asked to keep it all hush hush until the PR people were ready to announce the product launch. But she knew I could keep my mouth shut. Or it could be that she was just too nervous to tell anyone in case she didn't get it. Although she had been one of the few shortlisted, yeah, that makes sense. She would have felt humiliated if it had got out that she was in line for a big comeback only for some other model to get the top job. Why don't you just tell me what you know about the face of experience, Mr. Franklin? Hillary said, forcing herself to relax back in her chair. Starting from the beginning, please. Dermot nodded. Okay, but this is 15 years ago. Remember? I won't be all that hot on details. So, I know it was a fashion company. Don't ask me the name of it. I couldn't tell you. But they were going to launch a line of stuff for there. And here he made quote marks with his fingers, his lips twisting into a grimace of distaste. Older woman clientele. The 40 plus brigade. Imelda was torn between indignation at being approached for the silver market and over the moon because it was going to be a really big thing. TV ads, magazines, billboards, products in all the top stores, the works. How did all this come about? Hillary asked. Who approached her? Oh, just the usual way, I suppose. Through the modeling agency that you was signed up with. They arranged all the initial interviews, photo shoots, whatever, Dermot explained. I remember Amy being really excited about one shoot. Furs and diamonds were mentioned, fake furs, I suppose, he added, but with a frown of uncertainty. Okay, and you say she was shortlisted? Yes, I think it was down to her and two others. You know, to be their face of experience. The way it was sold to her was that she was going to be the poster girl for the middle aged. You know, you can look like this if you use whatever the hell it was they were selling. Hillary smiled. You signed like you weren't all that impressed. By your own admission, the murder victim was about to become very famous and probably very wealthy. And in doing so, denied the two other women the same chance. Where fame and fortune is at stake, murder has been known to follow. She saw the color fade from his face as her words sank in. But that's not. None of us could have been involved. We sell things for a living. We are not homicidal maniacs, he protested. Hillary suddenly felt immensely weary and leaned back in her chair. Now I suggest you focus your mind and gather together all of the facts and figures that you can track down concerning Imelda's involvement in the campaign. Then start making notes of anything you can remember about that time. Starting with personal. Who would have had direct contact with her? That sort of thing, and then email it to this address. She handed over one of her cards, and Mr. Fisher, she said, as she began to rise from her chair. Don't take too long about it. Yes? Of course, he said hastily, but quickly put her card down as if it was red hot. Thomas Phelps answered the door with a resigned look of patience on his face. Once again, he had agreed to stay in to be interviewed, and she wondered if he was having flashbacks to the original investigation, during which he must have become accustomed to the disruptions and obligations that having a murdered wife had thrust upon him. Thank you for seeing us again so soon, sir, she began politely. Once they were seated in the lounge, she could hear noises emanating from the kitchen and presumed it was his wife making the noise, although it might just as easily have been someone that he employed to help out with the housekeeping. So this is all we have. I'll be back with another video with another book. Till then, just take care and goodbye.